Well, fresh details are now emerging of how the arms dealer Abhishek Verma and his associates systematically penetrated the Defence Ministry and the Indian Armed Forces to ensure that the rifles, carbines and pistols manufactured by the firm Sig Sauer were favoured to win contracts which could ultimately be worth billions of dollars. Now, earlier this week, NDTV brought you the story of how Verma and his Romanian wife Anca were transferred a sum of $50,000 to be paid to a so-called VIP to push through the deal for rifles, sniper rifles for the Indian Army. Now, today we are going to bring you fresh details of the money trail, of how top secret documentation was accessed and what this all means. And what we have with us is actual email conversations between Abhishek Verma, who is now in jail, unconnected to this case, another case, Abhishek Verma, Sig Sauer, the company in the United States, and his colleagues, and how they tried to push through a deal, a massive deal for sniper rifles for the Indian Army. Now, first point, in an email dated the 23rd of July 2011, Abhishek Verma, who used the email ID manager at Intercompany Mail, and we have this mail right over here, right? I'm just showing it because we've got all of this over here. Now, he wrote to his associates that an anonymous complaint had been received by the Defense Ministry on the trials conducted on Sig assault rifles in the US by Indian Army officers. Now, according to the complaint, Indian evaluators were unable to reach the firing range for trials on time, and the firing range was not subsequently available. Abhishek Verma was able to glean information from the Defense Ministry that A, there was an anonymous complaint, and B, this is what the complaint was. He shouldn't have been able to access this information in any case, but he did. But let's move on. Now, this anonymous complaint said that Indian evaluators, testers of this gun, were able to extrapolate the performance of the gun by testing it at a range of 300 meters, not the mandated 800 meters. Now, Sig Sauer looked after the Indian evaluators. The wife of one of the officers was taken shopping, wined and dined, and therefore the complainant, the anonymous complainant, said in that letter to the Defense Ministry, Sig Sauer should be dropped from the competition for sniper rifles for the Indian Army. Now, quite clearly, Abhishek Verma, who was working for Sig Sauer, was worried about the consequences, and in this letter, he writes, if he, in other words, the Director General of Acquisitions in the Defense Ministry takes cognizance of the anonymous complaint, then the entire deal would be scrapped and retendered. So that's what their worry is. Now, they have a worry. How are they now going to push the deal? How are they going to ensure that the Sig gun remains in the competition? Key questions. All right. Now, in an email to his colleague, Verma also shares details of the performance of all the guns in the trial. Now, this is what I was referring to earlier on. Not only did he get access to that anonymous letter, he also was able to access performance of competing guns in the trials. This is top secret, highly classified, based on an army report submitted to the Director General of Acquisition in the Defense Ministry. I can't show you that because I assume it falls under the Official Secrets Act. How did he get something like this? Key question, how did one of the companies participating in a major weapons tender, Sig Sauer, gain knowledge about the performance of a competing firm from Israel during both day and night trials? That's what Verma appears to have got. Another key question, how did Verma actually know how each gun had been evaluated? Because these documents indicate that he had the number 1 and number 2 rankings as well for daytime shooting and nighttime shooting. So this is what he was able to get. But remember about that anonymous letter. How does he deal with it? Well, on the 25th of July 2011, Verma writes to his colleagues, and I've got this email with me as well. I will find out from my friends how something can be done and at what cost. Here is where the bribe business comes in. And in another email, and here's where it gets genuinely murky, Verma writes, the issue was discussed with the VIPs today. The VIP will invoke the clause of no action should be taken on anonymous complaints. This is that letter. It's marked secret. And this is the VIP. We don't know who this VIP is. This VIP will invoke the policy of no action should be taken on an anonymous complaint. Now, it goes on to say that the VIP is not really concerned with the eventual outcome of the tender. That will be decided on a commercial bid. But the VIP would like to be paid half immediately to take on the assignment to ensure that Sig Sauer is not thrown out of the competition, and the other half will be paid on the success. What do you mean by success? Success, by his definition, is when the financial envelope of SIG is also included in the opening of the financial bids of the parties. So if the gun moves through when the financial bids are open, that's when the VIP will take his money, he will move away, and that's his job. How much will he be paid? Now, the damages for the short project would be $220,000. That's what it says over here. The damages for the short project would be $220,000. $110,000 immediately, and the other half as soon as our company is invited to the financial bids opening. All right. Well, this could be all talk. Did money make its way to India? Apparently it did. We've got those documents as well over here. How the money trail actually happened. Now, keen to ensure that the process to bribe the so-called VIP happens quickly, Verma sends an email on the 26th of July 2011 in which he writes, Gilly has spoken to Ron. They have to wire $50,000 tomorrow, Tuesday or on Wednesday for business development. These are the words that are used in India. This cannot be delayed a day as each day counts. On the 26th of July 2011, an account is opened at JP Morgan Chase Bank in New York. This is a copy of beginning balance, $0, and then $51,000 is deposited into the account. Right here it says $51,000 is deposited into the account. And on the 2nd of August 2011, there is an email from Verma's colleague, C. Edmonds Allen, that the transfer to Ganton, Verma's company, is actually complete. And we've got details of that. Here we go. We've got details of that as well here. This is the account transfer that's taken place. This is bribe money which has actually made its way to India. Irrespective of whether it was paid or not, and people will say we don't really know who the VIP is, we don't really know if he has been paid or she has been paid, but this is the account transfer from Sig Sauer to Ganton. Ganton is the company of Abhishek Verma. Right. So we know that the bribe money actually came to India as well. What's the bottom line? Well, the Sig Sauer 716 assault rifle has never been blacklisted. It is in competition for the Indian Army's tender. It remains in competition, and there are reports that SIG was actually allowed to showcase the range of the gun. Remember, they couldn't showcase the range of the gun properly in the US. Apparently, we are told, we are trying to confirm this, they were allowed to showcase the range of the gun through special permission in trials in India. Unanswered questions. Who is the VIP who helped Verma ensure that SIG and their gun was not blacklisted? Are Verma's claims to his colleagues of having a VIP friend genuine in the first place? Or is he misleading everybody? Well, this is what we're looking at. Joining us, Sanjay Jha, member of the Congress Party. Also with us, Chandan Mitra, MP of the Rajya Sabha. He's been with us for a while. General VP Malik, former Chief of Staff of the Indian Army. Thank you all very much for being with us. Chandan Mitra, quick reaction to this story.
Well, you see, what you have just revealed, I think it just confirms what a large section of the media has been saying for a long time, that Abhishek Verma is the kingpin in this whole sordid and murky business of defense purchases and kickbacks and bribes that have been going on and have dogged the Indian Army and its defense purchases for many, many years. And the amazing thing is that if you have got all these emails, what has the CBI or ED and other investigative agencies been doing? Surely they haven't put blindfolds on their eyes, because it involves all these big companies, and the kickbacks have actually been received by top people in the party or government. So, and Verma is in jail, his wife is in jail. They have not been named in any crime relating to whether it's a helicopter purchase or this arms matter. Why hasn't he been named? In fact, in another case, in a case filed by a Cyprus company, the trial court directed the CBI to file an FIR against Verma. The CBI not only did not file that FIR, they have in fact now said that the trial court has no jurisdiction. So Verma is being protected.
Yes.
By whom?
That's
and
the big
why?
question.
And therefore, the first thing is an FIR must be filed against Verma. He must be questioned about this and many other arms deals that have happened, because he is undoubtedly one of the biggest arms dealers not only in India but in the world around. He and his wife are the biggest con couple in Indian history in recent times, and we are allowing him to go scot-free
Sanjay Jha,
inside jail
yes,
on a relatively minor charge.
Sanjay Jha, the basic point which I think Chandan Mitra is making is that the system is messed up. We've seen this time and time again. Middlemen are being reportedly protected, if not by people in the armed forces, and that's the big worry we found out in the Augusta Westland deal as well. These are the allegations. But by bureaucrats, several of whom have been named, we've not named them today, and others. The system of acquiring weaponry for our poor Jawans trying to save our lives is messed up. Is that something we need to now accept?
I think, Vishnu, I would completely agree with Chandan that the system of defense purchases in India has to be thoroughly reviewed. Now, as a matter of principle, the good step is that we have said that middlemen are not allowed to be engaged in any purchases of arms equipment that is done by the government. Now, there are merits and demerits. There are a lot of people who believe that if you want to make the system more transparent and accountable, allow that to happen. But that's a dangerous one, because that may actually encourage a lot of people into indulging in even more excess acts of corruption. So at this point of time, what you're witnessing is what happens in, we are today one of the largest importers of armaments worldwide.
The world's largest.
And we are the largest. And, because of the fact that even if you look at our recent budget, I mean, the defense figures haven't gone down, they only have crept up. So obviously there are, I consider somebody like Verma, if you look at his track record, he's not an arms dealer. I think we flatter him by saying that. He's a sleazy con man. He uses subterfuge, he's used forgery, he leads a lavish lifestyle, he's into name dropping, and obviously he's
obviously penetrated the system as well.
Jokers,
you can call him
who are falling into the trap.
Right.
I agree. Now, I think that's a challenge that everybody needs to look into. If you look at it, the dangerous part, Vishnu, that I would mention here is that Navy war room leak that happened, around 7 to 8 years ago. And even today, he's flourishing in whichever format.
His wife was actually negotiating.
Why is he being
Absolutely.
protected?
Now,
why is he not
many years after the Navy war room where he was a primary suspect?
Chandan, I don't think we need to talk about protection and give it a political angle, because let me tell you, I mean, some of the rifle issues that Vishnu's talked about pertain to purchases by the Madhya Pradesh government.
Yeah, we are going to talk about that later on, because we are running out of time.
I think there's a dangerous element
Sanjay, I take the point you're making.
I
need to bring in General Malik over here. We had an Italian foreign minister's press conference, so we run out of time. General Malik, so you're a soldier. I mean, you were the army chief. You know more than anybody else how much our soldiers need these guns. So the fault, it seems to me, sir, is everywhere. At the level of officers testing in the armed forces, at the level of bureaucrats who give top secret information. Where is the rot, sir?
Look, let me first clarify. I tend to agree with both the previous speakers, Chandan Mitra as well as Sanjay Jha, as far as Abhishek Verma and his credentials are concerned. But let me just clarify a few procedures which I think need to be discussed when we talk about this email that you have just now read out.
Yes.
The first thing, what is looking strange to me is that why should an officer go all the way to USA to see a particular weapon? Because trials for the weapons take place only in India. Formal technical trials take place only in India, in different weather conditions, in different types of terrain. So I don't know why anybody went outside the country. It could have been done when they were just collecting information about the and wanting to prepare a GSQ or before the request for proposals were sent out. So that looks a bit strange to me. The second thing, let me also clarify that when these trials take place, technical trials take place under a team headed by a very senior officer. In this case, it could have taken place in Mao and some other places. The vendors are present.
Yes.
The vendors know exactly what is going on. So nothing is kept secret from them. They know who is better or who is not so good in their weaponry. So that bit of information anybody can collect.
Okay.
But as you said about the files moving around, the data moving around,
and the money being transferred.
I agree with you that Ministry of Defense and Army Headquarters is a sieve today.
Yes.
Let me tell you, when these things carry on for months and months together, then these files are passed around so many people. They go through up and down in the formations, in the Army Headquarters, in the Ministry of Defense, And I am not at all surprised when
That
a
this has
person
happened.
like
All right.
Abhishek Verma is able to collect this kind of information and
Okay.
pass it on.
All right, we'll have to end on this note. Apologies, wished I could have spent more time on this. There is so much more to discuss. Thank you all for your perspective. We will follow up on the story, and we can tell you there's a lot more.